Up until the end of this September, I was working in Estonian Museum of Natural History. My background is geology, and that's why the title of this presentation, we were developing AR, VR solutions in the museum, but mainly they were started because I was trying to find a way how to make this quite complicated topic understandable for everyday people. Because for you, I don't know, has any one of you learned anything about Estonian geology? Timur has a little because... Okay, perfect. There are more people. Oh, we have at least 4 people.
I don't remember anything.
Okay, for everyday people, this is just plain grey rock. Sometimes in Estonia it's even more colorful, but still we see grey. It's like Estonian weather. Usually it's grey, boring. But for geologists, this is actually like an open book. If we see these layers here, it's like a page in an adventure book. I have a great example how it works. Like geologists can read every layer as a book. Some old geologists say have a saying that geologists are persons who know a secret language of rocks. For us, we see here a lot of things. First of all, we can see here fossils. I think every person here in this room can recognize a fossil because it usually looks like something, usually alien, and it's just preserved there hundreds of millions of years. But also, if you study a little geology, then you understand that there's information about the environment, temperature, how much CO2 was in the atmosphere, how warm the weather was, or where this area was, for example, 500 million years ago, magnetic data. So, how to make this interesting, adventurous book understandable for everyday persons, like non-geologists? How to make this sexy? Our first answer was, let's make an exhibition. It's usually the main thing that museums do if they want to give a hard topic to explain hard topic. Let's make an exhibition. Usually these exhibitions is like we have a few pictures, maybe a few examples, and then we have a lot of text on the wall, like a lot of text, information. But it's very hard to, in geology, it's very hard to explain things that usually they don't look the things that they were when they were living. For example, if you have a fossil, then usually, most probably, it's just a small part of that actual creature that lived. So if I'm trying to explain some nautiloids that were top predators 400 million years ago. They were like ice cream cone, and then was squid in oh, that's one here. If I don't visualize, it's very hard to explain how this animal looked and how this animal actually behaved in the environment that it was in the past. So we had an idea that let's make one room the ancient seabed. Like, let's cover all the walls with moving environment that it was millions of years ago. But during that process, we were sitting with our 3D animators, Pop Animation, and I asked, is it difficult to put it in VR? Like, now we do, at the moment we do like 2D animation, but what if we like make it 360? And he was, Jabuk, Metzal, the head animator of this project, he was like, it's not that difficult. We have this 3D environment already, let's make it a little bigger and let's put the camera in the center and basically you just need a 3D, you just need a VR headset and basically we're done. It was 2017, April. We didn't know anything about VR. We were actually a little afraid of VR because we had only heard bad stories that some people get sick when they go to VR. So we were like very cautious in the beginning. How to do this? And we also had some budget limitations. So we first of all we had an idea. Let's make it like so immersive that you can walk in the ancient seabed, touch animals, and interact with them. But if you start to think realistically, it was well out of our budget. So we understood that we are very limited in space, that we can put users in the museum. We're in Old Town, Lai 29A in Tallinn. And so we decided, let's use the most simple way. We used Gear VR, Samsung Gear VR, and we just had an idea that let's make very high quality 3D video or animation. Because it suits very well to describe the environment that we have 300, 400 million years ago. So, first of all, we tried to talk to Samsung. First, they were, yes, we back you up, no problem. But when our project reached to a point where we started needing these devices, Samsung was gone. Probably we weren't that known at that moment. So we made like a risky business. We bought all the devices and content by ourselves. Director at that time, the one who's working there at the moment also, she told me that it better work. Because this budget was pretty big for a museum, but our exhibition was already very, very great success. The exhibition was already open. This room, this 360 animation would have been like the extension of this exhibition. Like you can just dive into the scene, and usually, you can show this content after the exhibition is over. So basically, we can keep the exhibition in our room all the time. So. The bar was high. We were said not to fail, no problem. So from the first idea in February, March, April, we started our VR cinema in July 2017. By the end of the year, we already had approximately 10,000 visitors, paying visitors. So at that moment, I think we were the biggest VR cinema in Estonia, or maybe in Baltics. So by the end of this year, we actually had earned back all the investments that we made, all the devices, all the content, everything. It was total success. These devices worked perfectly with this content because we were really oriented towards making content for this device particularly. And after that, first year we were successful. We thought let's make VR experience for every temporary exhibition in the future. There was a little drawback because later years we got used to this. We thought that every other museum also shows these VR animations, and we thought our people thought that it's not that new anymore, which meant that the numbers actually started declining. The people the visitors who were watching these animations, and that's a thing that it's very common that first when the thing is new, it's new for everyone, and everyone wants to show it, show off, but the how to say, these old habits start to come back very quickly, that it's not anymore new and we don't need to sell it to visitors. Basically, the problem was that we kind of stopped selling it to visitors because, I don't know, for us, for our staff, it was like regular. It wasn't new anymore. So the second movie we had a little downside or decline in numbers, visitor numbers, but the third one we already acknowledged the problem that we had, so the third one was already better. The third one is now you can go and see it's about bats. You can fly like a bat. Okay, that exhibit also started with COVID. We just opened the exhibition 1 month before COVID shut down the whole world. We had just bought new devices, Oculus Go, with a control devices, and basically a month after this investment, all museums were shut down, and these new devices were just sitting on a table. So, but now it's a success because the main thing that we wanted to show in this third movie was how bats combine sound location and visible information, because they see and hear same time, and they put the surrounding together according to these two information inputs. So we wanted to combine these two things, because usually there have been sound echolocation simulators, but nobody had tried to put these two things together. Information from eyes and information from ears. So bats actually can see. They can see better than humans in the dark, but they enhance their details by using echolocation in the dark. So we wanted to put these two things together. So let's come back to the geology. It looks cool, but still there's a little problem. VR has a little problem. I call it Avatar problem. Who doesn't know Avatar? Every one of you has seen Avatar. I think next Christmas there will be Avatar 2 and then Avatar 3, 4. Many Avatars coming. Avatar was a nice movie. It was mind-blowing. I remember when I went to cinema and saw it, 2.5 meter creatures running around, then a big tree somewhere in a forest on an unknown planet. Very nice, but still in deep inside I feel it's a cartoon, or it's not real. Compared to Independence Day, huge alien warships come to Earth and they blow up Eiffel Tower. I feel like, wow, Eiffel Tower, I was there 3 years ago. Here, random tree somewhere in the forest, not that deeply connected. So, I think in a way the VR has, or can have, that similar, similar problem, that we create some kind of environment, but the connection with a visitor to that environment isn't strong enough, because still it looks like cartoonish. And here are creatures that you haven't seen before. Trilobites, aliens, ancient corals, nothing like today. Ice cone killers. It's a cartoon. Maybe someone thought it up. Like it's imagination. Maybe it's not connected to fossils. So the thing is that how to solve that. Making permanent connection between the geological specimen and the visitor. The idea was like, use augmented reality, let's bring this creature into a space that visitor already knows. Like, it's familiar. Because I had an experience, I think in the beginning of 2018, with HoloLens that I put on Microsoft HoloLens, and suddenly the robots came through a wall and started shooting at me. I had to shoot them back. I was really excited, but it was happening in my own room. I imagine it's like happening here now. So, one moment. Let's imagine that we are in a museum, and you see a specimen. It's regular geological specimen. Usually, as I told, the specimen isn't preserved fully. Usually, it's only part of it. These are millimeters here. It's very small, actually. It's like this. Who knows what it is?
Eyelid.
Usually, visitors are like, "What's that?" Like, you just have a name, fossil name. It's found by the Korolenka outcrop, Middle Devonian. It's like 400 million years. What if I say that it's a fish that grew 2 meters long? It was very wide, half meter and a half wide. It was like ray fish today, and it had a little mouth on the bottom, and then it wasn't a predator. It was feeding from, I don't know, these little creatures that were living on the seabed. It's very hard on this. You have this little piece and big fish. So, let's recreate this animal in the room, in the museum, that visitors already know. So, here we have this fish. The same fish, right size that it was in the past, and doing the fish things. First, we had an idea: what if visitor comes to a museum, points its device to a fossil, and it becomes living thing? That was our first idea how to use this application. But when we prototyped this, usually the visitor came to our test. The visitor came to this geological hall. No, it doesn't work. It was very hard to put that visitor to point your device into very specific place, because in the beginning we started with it in 2018. It was very hard to. It was very unknown technology, and it was very hard to explain to the users that point it right here, and you have to keep it here for 3 seconds. Then it starts, because we wanted that these fossils are markers that start an animation or put that fish or trilobite to live. So we were struggling a lot, and we finally discovered that we need huge stickers on the floor that the users have to point their devices to. This is the museum part. We had in the beginning we had like 10 things in the museum. We call it secret layer, but it's very hard to tell visitors that download an application to use only 10 animations. What's the little thing to keep that application in your device in the future? How can visitors use that same content at home? Because actually we ran into the problem that this content was cool, visitors were really engaged, they were spending minutes exploring these creatures, but they were not willing to download the application. They were very using the content when our staff pointed out, gave them, I don't know, iPad, and they were really engaged, but they were not willing to download the application themselves because random application, how to download it. And then I thought of myself, I don't download many applications. I mainly download the applications that I see need to use. So the idea of this augmented reality application was great, but we ran into a problem that people don't want to download that. So the next thing was that we wanted to skip the download part. So at the moment it's running on EEVR. Yes, I'm already finished, sorry. And these cards, these come home. And these cards have a little random content about the creatures that you want to recreate. You can play with it, you can compare to nowadays living a butterfly to a trilobite that lived 500 million years ago, and you can recreate them in your own environment. But it's not just environment, the animation, but now there's a narrator who tells why we choose this creature. And this narration is done like there's it's a great nap story for kids, but at the same time it has a humorous subtone for adults. So it's a great thing to use at home. When we had COVID, this went a little viral because these cards were downloaded more than 200 times in few weeks. People were using that, we collected data that people are using it. So at that moment, we understood that, maybe AR applications are not for museum environment. Maybe it's a place, it's an application that we can continue or prolong the museum experience to visitors' home. So, and with that knowledge, I basically came away from the museum. I don't know what they are doing at the moment. They are building a new building, which will be open in the end of 2024, I think so.
That's the official date. Yes.
That's the official date at the moment.
Yes.
Did you have a video there as well that would play?
Yeah, I had two videos of this. First, it's I think it's the museum experience. Oh, sorry, it's
Refresh maybe.
so.
Internet connection.
So I don't know, at the moment, that's why I skipped them, because it might not work. So, but everybody can just see this presentation later, because I can give you the link. So, any questions, any ideas, any suggestions?
I have two. Who else?
In the back row?
Yeah, so what were the budgets for these drawings?
For For the first VR experience, we were actually working on extremely low budget because I think in total with devices and the content, we had approximately 30,000 euros. And half of it, I think, was devices, mobile devices, because we bought 10, because we calculated that it's about average class group is 20-30 persons, and we can show the content in 2-3 times.
But web AR and these things.
With AR, we had another story that in the beginning we wanted to product. Like every good idea, it started in a bar in Tartu. I was talking to my friend who's working as a UX designer in Mobilab, and that I have an idea. We want to create a product, AR product, and next week I already had a meeting with Mobilab people, Allan. I think everybody, or most of the people know Allan here.
So this is their product?
First, it would have been our product, but in the middle of the process, Mobilab discovered that it could be a product of their own, and we were happy because we were the first paying customer. We didn't need to pay that much of money to develop the whole product. We just had to, I don't know, basically pay a little for server and work and that sort of things. Because in the beginning, the budget would have been 30, 40, 50,000 euros, but with a first paying customer, we did it a few hundred euros per month, I think, approximately.
And just as a note, Alan was telling me that they launched their platform, or they are about to launch it in the next few days, and he would be here, but he's in Dubai, or he will be in Dubai, so he doesn't want to risk getting corona. But yeah, so it turns out it actually became a product.
Yeah, it became a product, and it's a product that Mobilab develops at the moment and provides, and yeah, they have a next version out soon. And then the web AR, it came with the same problem that we went to Mobilab, that we want to use the content, or we see that people don't want to download the application, so why not let's put all the content in web AR, and it was actually a simple task because nowadays web AR is quite simple. ARKit and ARCore are quite similar, so yeah.
So my question is, do you know how much of the revenue roughly for museums is from like VR, AR exhibitions versus like the traditional ones? And do you know what the landscape is in Estonia in general? Like how many museums there are, how many have some sort of XR solution, and how many could perhaps have it?
I wish there were more, because when we started with VR, we knew that we have to create very high quality content, because what if next museum wants to make a good content and visitor gets a bad experience in our museum, and if visitor goes to next museum and someone offers them VR, and if you have a bad experience, you say that, no, I don't want it, I saw VR sucks. So at the moment, I think Estonian History Museum has had, Maritime Museum has had, but it's not really a part in income. We were a little different. For other museums, it was a part of the exhibition, but we were so small that we had to make it a product, like something extra to get the investment back. But people were willing to pay, and this model worked really well.
Right. Thank you.